So many small businesses, especially, don't have a terms and conditions sheet for what they provide to their clients when they're trying to lay out and talk about what they're going to do in their service or product based business. What do you see the biggest issues regarding having a terms sheet for all small businesses?
Oh, well, the most important thing with a term sheet is that it sets clear expectations for everybody involved. If there's no term sheet and you're just doing handshake deals, like there's room for dispute. I understood what you told me to mean something else than what you thought it meant. But if you put things into writing, it clarifies a lot of those issues. It'll lay out precisely what you're supposed to be providing, when those things are due, the costs involved, basically everything that's important for your business to be able to collect revenue from your customers and making sure that their expectations are met on the other side. A term sheet is a great way to do that. And a failure to have a term sheet just leaves yourself open for all kinds of disputes.
Many times though, when a small business presents their terms sheets, their clients will come back and push back. And they'll basically say, well, no, we're not going to agree to everything that you're asking or that everything that you've laid out in your term sheets. How do we handle those type of negotiations and discussions with our clients when their clients are unwilling to accept the terms as offered?
Behind that question is a business owner's ability to understand his or her own business, first and foremost. What are my margins? Do I have room to negotiate based on the terms I've presented? Because if you're presenting terms that are barely making you a profit, you don't have much room to negotiate, and you're going to be behind you're going to be behind the eight ball in terms of being able to negotiate, because it might just put you in a situation where you have to say yes or no to a deal, as opposed to being able to negotiate something less than what you were hoping for, but something that still profits you in the end, gets you a new customer, builds a new relationship. And so really behind your question is sort of the fundamental problem that a lot of business owners have, is that they don't necessarily know their own business well enough to make those kinds of decisions. What we see a lot is, especially small businesses, new businesses in particular, they try to undercut their competition, right? So they bring their margins down. And maybe that makes them more attractive to some kinds of customers, but there's going to be a time that comes when somebody's going to want to negotiate with them even less than what their lowest rate is. And now you're put yourself in a bind where I have to say no to a potential relationship because I can't make any money on this contract because I started too low, or I was trying to undercut someone and somebody's trying to do that to me right now. And it really puts you in a bind. So the first aspect of creating a term sheet is really understanding your own business. How much money do you need to make in order to cover your costs and to make a significant profit so that your business can, invest in itself, hire new employees, grow, whatever the goals are. And when that opportunity comes to negotiate with a client who says, well, that rate's just a little bit too high, I can't do it, you have room. You can take your margin from 50 down to 25%, and you're still making money, and you've gotten a new customer. And they feel satisfied because they got what they want. So their expectation, their relationship with you is starting out on a great basis because they think this guy's reasonable, they met me where I needed to be, and we're going to have a long-lasting relationship. As opposed to if you play hardball and for whatever reason, they still end up signing with you because maybe you're the best in that industry. Great, you're the best, but they're going to feel this little bit of angst that's going to be there with your relationship the entire time, thinking, I'm just paying too much for this. And the moment someone comes along that seems just as good as you, but is a little bit cheaper, they're switching. So it's better to start your relationship off on the best foot you can with a term sheet that begins with your understanding of your business and your ability to negotiate within your profit margins and what your business is capable of doing.
Well, and at some point, that also builds the confidence in the business owner to know where the deal breaking point is, where they're just simply willing to say, that's a bridge too far, and I'm going to walk away from this deal.
All right. There might be some things that a potential customer asks of you that you simply cannot provide. And you have to be willing and able and knowledgeable enough about your own competencies and your business to say, I can't do that. Because if you take on work that you might not do well, you're going to potentially burn a bridge. And that's the worst thing you can do as a small business, especially, is lose a customer on failing to meet an expectation, and then that word spreads.
When you realize that your business is really truly in need of legal counsel to help guide you down the path to ensure that you avoid the pitfalls and perils, then we would encourage you to please call Koegle Law Group at 661-362-0813, or you can visit us on our website at koeglelaw.com.